Hi, I'm Sandy Peterson. You haven't heard of me as much in this Kickstarter as I would have liked because I was sick with a chest infection for a couple weeks. I'm still kind of recovering, but I'm better now, and we're going to talk about half dozen of the new things coming up for Onslaught 2. I'm excited about them. I think you will be too. Let's start off with Enak. So Enak is, of course, an adorable great old one, and if you've read the story that he appears in, cold print, it turns out that he actually takes form by possessing a person, and that person kind of morphs into the Enak shape. So I've taken off on this, and the way Enak works in the game is his combat's 0, okay? And when you have a combat in which he's killed, instead of killing him, you can pick one of the enemy units to be replaced by Enak. And then they have Enak and they're stuck with him, and they keep moving it around, right? And so he keeps like replacing some good piece with this combat 0 great old one and moving from person to person. The only way to avoid the curse of Enak is if everyone on the enemy side is killed when Enak is killed. So he's pretty much a pest. So he's something to saddle the enemy with, especially an enemy that has some like pretty good units that they like to hang on to, like Star Spawn or Spawny Yogg-Sothoth, or maybe a Terror even. So anyway, that's Enak. So now I'd like to talk about Galaki. And some people have wondered about the spelling of Galaki we're using, which is G-L-A'-A-K-I. This is what Mr. Campbell told us to spell him as. He says it's been wrong in all the printed things. So you heard it here first. It's Galaki, I guess. So Galaki, sorry, this isn't Galaki. This is Beatus. What am I thinking? But it's still correct what I said about Galaki, so don't forget that. Now what Beatus does in the stories, Beatus lives in this big old tower in Berkeley Castle in England, and he never leaves it. He can't get out of it. So in the game, Beatus sits in his area, and he can't move. He can't be moved, he just stays there. But he does have a bonus, which is that if it's the Doom phase and there's no enemy units in this area, you get an Elder Sign, and his ability is he can draw cultists to him from adjacent areas. So they have to move into the area with Beatus, and then of course he can capture them or whatever. So it's like, you kind of tend to like not want to be near Beatus because he sucks your things to him and then he can kill them. So he's like a trap great old one. Okay, let's move on a little bit, and we have one that I like quite a bit. This is Ihort. Okay, his base isn't detached right now, but this is Ihort. And what Ihort does, he has the Brood of Ihort. And this is a new kind of cultist. They're cardboard tokens, and when you summon Ihort, you replace all of your cultists with the Brood. And then of course you can summon more cultists, but you have these Brood things that are on the map that are now new cultists that you can use. So you have like this potentially huge sum of cultists to do things with, and it's really a powerful thing for controlling gates and getting doom points, and it's like he spawns all over the place. And then when you later on you can spawn more Brood by replacing more cultists, and it's this constant ongoing nightmare of dealing with the Brood. Okay, next I believe I will talk about Wachtel Mateus, one of our new terror creatures. So Wachtel Mateus is a terror. It's kind of in between a monster and a great old one. He captures cultists like a monster, but he doesn't have the disadvantages of monsters being vulnerable to certain attacks. Now what Wachtel Mateus does, because he's the god of of the demon of oblivion and destruction, when you're in combat with Wachtel Mateus, if one of your guys is killed, then you have a choice. Your guy that was killed can either be killed forever, back in the box, out of the game. You don't have that guy anymore. Or you can let the owner of Wachtel Mateus have an Elder Sign. Your choice. It's not a very fun choice, but Wachtel Mateus is only a fun guy if you're in charge of him. Now, another great old one, Tulcha, the Green Flame. So, Tulcha reverses the way the Doom track works for you. So when you do a Ritual of Annihilation and you control Tulcha, what happens is that it costs you 0 power, but instead you earn power equal to the current cost of a Ritual of Annihilation. So if it's on 7, when it's your turn to do a ritual, you'd say, I take 7 power. It still advances the Doom track and everything, but you don't get Doom points, you don't get Elder Signs, but you get a ton of power for the upcoming turn. Like, the minimum you can get is 5 power, so that's pretty sweet, and you can use that to superpower your turn and get a lot of mileage out of it. Finally, our last terror is the dole, and this was shipped to us in 2 parts. Here's like the splash coming out of the mud, then the top part is the figure, and you'll have a base too underneath it, so I'm not sure exactly how that goes in there, but there's some way, there it goes. And then there'll be a base as well, so it all connects together. So the dole, of course, is this huge terrifying thing. He's one of the biggest figures we have. I mean, he's the guy, you can see how monstrously big he is. And what happens with him, he rolls 5 dice in combat, which is pretty respectable for a non-great old one. And you send him around going into combat, and you want him to go into combat and slaughter things, because when he's in combat, if he's killed, which of course happens frequently because you're hurling him into combat willy-nilly, you get 2 Elder Signs. That's 2.5 power per Elder Signs, which is kind of a bargain. So you summon him again, send him into combat again, because of course, like, why wouldn't you? And wait, that's not 2.5 power per Elder, it's 2 power per Elder Sign. It only costs 4 to summon. His combat's 5. So you're throwing this guy into battle, getting 2 Elder Signs each time. It's an Elder Sign making machine, and plus, as he does it, he's wrecking everyone else's face, knocking out their gates, and you're capturing his stuff, and he's just really obnoxious. And because he's a terror, not a great old one, they can't steal him away from you. He's always yours. So that's how that goes. So those are 6 of the upcoming monsters. Hope you like your sneak peek at them. We've been trying them out and having a lot of fun with them, and I think you will too. And this is Sandy Peterson talking about Onslaught 2.